Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your kind association. Let's get started with our Bhakti Vaibhava study of Granthara Srīmad Bhāgavatam. First, let us chant our Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadādhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadādhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let us recite our verses from module 3 that we have to memorize. Etavan Sankhya Yogabhyam Swadharma Parinishthaya Janmalabha Parapumsamante Narayana Smriti. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty is to remember the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, at the end of life. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desires, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead, Krishna, Purushottam. Chatushloki Bhagavatam, verse 1. Aham evasam evagre nanyad yat sat asat param paschadaham yadetaccha yo vashishyeta sosmyaham. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead Krishna, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself. Nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Krishna said this to Lord Brahma. Chatushloki Bhāgavatam, verse 2. These 4 verses contain the essence of the entire Srīmad Bhāgavatam philosophy. Rityartham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyadatmano mayam yatha bhaso yathātamaha. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. Chatushloki, verse 3. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu chavacheshvanu pravishtan apavishtani tatha teshu nateshvaham. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time I am outside of everything. Chatushloki, verse 4. Etavad eva jidnyasyam tattva jidnyasunatmanah anvaya vyatirekabhyam yat syat sarvatra sarvada. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead Krishna, must certainly search for it up to this, in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. Last verse, the 10 topics of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utayah manvantareshanu katha nirodho muktirashrayah. Shri Shukdev Goswami said to Maharaj Parikshit, in this Srīmad Bhāgavatam, there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following. 1. Creation of the universe. Number 2. Secondary creation. Number 3. Planetary systems. Number 4. Protection by Lord Krishna. Number 5. The creative impetus. Number 6. The change of different manus. Number 7. The science of God. Number 8. Returning home back to Godhead. Number 9. Liberation. And number 10. The Samam Bonam Krishna, who is the supreme Ashraya for everyone. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, as part of our Bhakti Vaibhava course, all of us should become comfortable with reading the Sanskrit verses of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. So today, last time, so different devotees will read. Aradhya Madhavi Mataji read the last time Bhāgavatam. Today I will request Amrit Gaurangi Mataji to read. So Mataji, you have Bhāgavatam in front of you?
I have to get it, Prabhu. It is, I'm doing off the screen. I'll go get it, Prabhu, right now, if you can allow me.
You're okay now? You can do that?
Yeah, is it okay if I read off the screen, or you want me to read from the book, Prabhu?
No, you can do from the screen, Vedabase.
Sure, I will do it, Prabhu.
Okay, so actually I didn't realize last time we were on the last verse of this chapter. We are supposed to start from verse number 37, which happens to be the last verse of the second chapter. So let's get started. If I knew, I would have probably completed the chapter, but that's fine. So we'll get started now. Shri Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, we are reading from Granthara Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, entitled The Lord in the Heart. And I would like you all to go back just a little, few verses. So go to verse number 33. In response to the questions of Maharaj Parikshit, Shri Shukdev Goswami says that for those who are conditioned souls in this material world, the most auspicious means of deliverance is direct devotional service to Lord Krishna. This is verse 33. Then in verse 34, Sri Shukdev Goswami gives a pramana that even Lord Brahma, who is the greatest authority on the Vedas, he ascertained that attraction for the Supreme Lord Krishna is the highest perfection of religion. Because Krishna is all attractive. Sarva akarshitahi iti Krishna. So highest perfection is to get attracted to Krishna. The perfection of an iron filing is to get attracted to the magnet. Krishna is a supreme magnet. Text 35, Sri Shukdev Goswami said that Lord Krishna, who is the personality of Godhead, is present in everyone's heart alongside the soul. Super soul is present. And then finally, in verse 36, therefore, the essential duty of every human being is to hear about Krishna, to remember Krishna, and to speak about Krishna, glorify Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This should be done always, and this should be done everywhere. Sri Shukdev Goswami says, it's a very beautiful verse. Tasmat sarvatmana rajan hari sarvatra sarvada shrotavya kirtitavyascha smartavyo bhagavan nirinam. Nirinam means people, human being. It is the duty of every person to always remember Krishna, hear about Krishna, and speak about Krishna. Beautiful verse, no? So that's where we ended last time. So today we'll start with verse number 37. Pibanti ye bhagavata atmana satam kathamritam shravana puteshu sambritam punanti te vishaya vidushitashayam vrajanti tat charana saroruhantikam. So, Amrit Gaurani Mataji, you can read the translation.
Hare Krishna. Those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment, and thus go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead.
So what Sri Shukdev Goswami is saying, this is the last verse of the chapter, very beautiful. In simple words, Shukdev Goswami is saying, those who hear Krishna Katha, those who hear about Krishna, they go back to Godhead. Look at the verse. Simple meaning is, those who hear about Krishna, those who hear Krishna Katha, they become purified, and at the end, they go back to Krishna, to his lotus feet. Those who drink through oral reception, oral means auditory reception through ears, and they hear the nectar-filled message of Krishna, means Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, which is the beloved of the devotees. Krishna is very dear to the devotees. Atmana Satam, Krishna is very dear to the devotees. They purify the polluted aim of life. People want material sense enjoyment, but material sense enjoyment is a perversion. They become purified, and thus they go back to God. Vrajanti tat charana, they go to the charan of Krishna. Now in the purport, Mataji, please read the first line, first sentence.
The sufferings of human society are due to a polluted aim of life, namely lording it over the material resources.
So this is our problem. We want to enjoy matter. We are not supposed to enjoy matter for two reasons. One is matter belongs to Krishna. Krishna says that Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, I am the Lord of everything. So Krishna is the enjoyer. Bhoktaram Yadnam, he is the Bhokta, not us. But we have Bhokta Bhava. We have the enjoying mentality. That is a problem. And secondly, we are not enjoyers only. First of all, we want to enjoy the matter, but matter belongs to Krishna. Secondly, we are not enjoyers of anything. We are enjoyed. We are Prakriti. We are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. We are Bhogya Vastu, and Krishna is Bhokta. Bhoktaram Yadgatapasam, Krishna says. So Krishna is Bhokta, we are Bhogya Vastu. But when the Bhogya Vastu wants to become Bhokta, then there is a discrepancy and there is suffering. So Prabhupada says, the sufferings of human society are due to polluted aim of life. Now, Amrit Gaurang Mataji, please read the third sentence that starts from the human necessities of life. So these are beautiful translations and purports by our beloved founder Acharya, Nitya Lila Pravishta, His Divine Grace, Srīmad, Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj, Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Please start, Mataji. The human necessities.
The human necessities of life fully supplied by the Lord in the shape of food grains, milk, fruit, wood, stone, sugar, silk, jewels, cotton, salt, water, vegetables, etc., in sufficient quantity to feed and care for the human race of the world as well as the living beings on each and every planet within the universe.
So the necessities of life have been given by Krishna in the form of natural resources like fruits, vegetables, water. Even to wear clothes, there is cotton, there is silk. Sometimes a question is asked, my dear friends, that is it bona fide to wear silk? Can we make silk cloth for Krishna? Can devotees wear silk because it comes from silkworm? So the answer is here that yes, we can use silk. It is the Vedic culture. Silk is considered to be very pure. Srila Prabhupada also wore silk dhoti, silk kurta when he was offered. And many great devotees I know, they wear silk. So there is nothing wrong in wearing silk. And silk is considered pure. It can be offered to Krishna also. The supply source is complete. And only a little energy by the human being is required to get necessities. So Krishna has supplied enough for everyone in this world. Om Purnam Adat Purnam Idam. This whole material world is a manifestation from Purna Krishna. And this world in itself is complete, self-sufficient. This Brahmanda is self-sufficient. Everything is there for everyone. But we should not be greedy. For necessities, everything is there. There is no need of machines. These natural resources can be used. Cows will give milk, bulls will help us plow the land, fruits, vegetables, natural living, how they live in the farm communities that Srila Prabhupada established. There is no need of machines. Life is never made comfortable by artificial needs, but it is made comfortable by plain living and high thinking. That is the thing. We should live simply and we should think of Krishna, who is the highest. The highest perfectional thinking for human society is suggested here by Sri Shukdev Goswami, which is sufficiently hearing Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Please read, Mataji. For men in this age of Kali.
For men in this age of Kali, when they have lost the perfect vision of life, this Srīmad Bhāgavatam is the torchlight by which to see the real path. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada has commented on the Kathamritam mentioned in this verse and has indicated Srīmad Bhāgavatam to be the nectarian message of the personality of Godhead.
So, Srila Prabhupada is saying that people in Kali Yuga, Nashta Drisha, they have lost their vision. But Srīmad Bhāgavatam is the Puran Arka. It is a sun in the form of Puran that gives us direction. And in this verse, there is a word called as Kathamrit. Kathamritam Shravanam Uteshu Sambritam. With our ears, we have to hear Krishna Kathamrit. Srila Jiva Goswami has commented in his Tika that the word Kathamritam in this verse means Srīmad Bhāgavatam, which is the story, the pastimes of Krishna, personality of Godhead. Then please read the next paragraph.
For a pure devotee of the Lord, any topics in relation with his name, fame, quality, entourage, etc. are all pleasing, and because such topics have been approved by great devotees like Narada, Hanuman, Nanda Maharaja, and other inhabitants of Vrindavana, certainly such messages are transcendental and pleasing to the heart and soul.
Yes. So now I will tell one English word, and Amrit Gauranga Mataji, you try to tell the Sanskrit equivalent. His name, Krishna name, what is the technical equivalent? Naam. Fame.
Yasha, Yasho.
Very, very good. Qualities, Krishna's qualities.
Guna.
And his entourage. His parshads. Sango Pangastra Parshads. The Hari Parshads, the associates of Krishna. So these are all topics about Krishna, Krishna's name, Krishna's activities, Krishna's wonderful qualities, Krishna's fame means his different pastimes, and Krishna's associates. Hearing about them is very pleasing. And it is approved by great devotees like Narad Muni, Hanumanji, Nanda Maharaj, inhabitants of Vrindavan. Okay? So now, next paragraph, Mataji. You read the whole purport, remaining purport now.
Yes. And by the constant hearing of the messages of the Bhagavad Gita and later of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, one is assured herein by Srila Shukadeva Goswami that he will reach the personality of Godhead and render him transcendental loving service in the spiritual planet of the name Goloka Vrindavana, which resembles a huge lotus flower. Okay,
so Mataji, now go phrase by phrase in this paragraph and explain in simple language what Prabhupada is saying. Very important.
So if one, by attentive hearing of the messages of Bhagavad Gita and Srīmad Bhāgavatam,
and later Srīmad Bhāgavatam.
Yes, and later from Bhagavad Gita and then later Srīmad Bhāgavatam, the assurance given by the Acharyas and by Srila Shukadeva Goswami here is that they will reach we all will go back to Godhead, which back home.
And what do we do there?
And we will render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord in the spirit.
How is Vrindavan?
It is like a lotus flower, huge lotus flower.
Jai. So, Tara madhe hema pitha ashtadale beshtita ashtadale pradhana naika. Tara madhe ratnasane bosiyache dui jane shama sange sundari radhika. This is Vrindavana Ramasthan. Please reach the next paragraph, Madhuri.
Thus, by the process of Bhakti Yoga, directly accepted as suggested in this verse, by sufficient hearing of the transcendental message of the Lord, the material contamination is directly eliminated without once attempting to contemplate the impersonal Virat conception of the Lord.
Good. Now explain this to us. You can read it again, verse by verse, explain. What is Prabhupada saying?
So Prabhupada is saying, if we follow Bhakti Yoga, as suggested in this verse,
direct bhakti, hearing, remembering, shrunvatam, shrotavya, kirtitavya, hearing, chanting directly.
So when we process the Bhakti Yoga process, when we practice the Bhakti Yoga process, then the material contamination is eliminated, and without we having to contemplate on the impersonal universal form of the Lord, or the Virat conception of the Lord.
So therefore, that meditation that was there in the first chapter of this canto, Virat Roop, is it for us?
No.
It is not for us. It is not for us. Because we are doing direct Bhakti Yoga. And direct Bhakti Yoga is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. That is the meaning of this. Very nice, Mataji. Feeling so happy. Okay, continue.
And by practicing Bhakti Yoga, if the performer is not purified from the material contamination, he must be a pseudo-devotee.
Beautiful sentence. Please explain this sentence. So, see, what is the praman for the first sentence that you explained? Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Shrunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtan ridantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti suhit satam. Okay? So that is the praman, that by hearing Srīmad Bhāgavatam, by doing direct bhakti, shrotavya, kirtitavya, smartavya, then our heart becomes purified. But I am telling you, Amrit Gauranga Mataji, listen, I am chanting Hare Krishna, I am reading and hearing Bhagavatam for many years, my heart is not getting purified. I still have material desires very much, and I am still not able to follow the 4 regulative principles. So what is the answer according to Prabhupada? Explain.
If the performer is not purified from material contamination, he must be a pseudo-devotee, and for such an impostor, there is no remedy for being freed from material entanglement. So, what is the question, Prabhu?
So my question is, can you explain this? If someone says, your process doesn't work, I am chanting, I have read the whole Bhagavatam, I have heard Prabhupada also, nothing happens. My heart is still contaminated. The process of bhakti doesn't work, Mataji. What will you say? Prabhupada is giving answer. I am a devotee, Mataji. I am a devotee, but this bhakti doesn't work only.
So then that means they didn't do proper hearing, attentive.
I am a pseudo devotee. Just pretending, tilak kanti, pretending nice kurta, pretending to be a devotee, but you have not practiced it properly. If practiced properly, the process of bhajan has to work. It will work. It has worked for everyone who has sincerely practices. Cheto darpana marjanam. It will happen. It's not whether it will happen or not. It will happen. 100% guaranteed. If it is not happening, that means you are not practicing it properly. You are not practicing it properly. Sugar is sweet. Nahi, sugar is salty. That means you didn't eat sugar. Because sugar is sweet. So like that. Prabhupada is saying, this is an imposter. Imposter means what? You pretend to be somebody you are not. That means we have been hypocrites. We have been imposters. We are not real bhaktas. We are pseudo devotees. Prabhupada is saying, if someone sincerely practices, one will see tangible results. If you are eating meat, if you practice bhakti, your desire to eat meat will go away. If you are intoxicating, you take to bhakti, you will be able to give up intoxication. It is a natural result. So if it is not working, that means you are not practicing it the way you are supposed to practice. And it is described more detail in the next chapter. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the second canto, second chapter of the Srīmad Bhāgavatam, entitled The Lord in the Heart. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Let's start chapter number 3. Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Hare Krishna. Please start, Mataji.
Canto 2, chapter 3, verse 1.
What is the chapter entitled?
Cosmic
Pure devotional service, the change of heart. It's there in the book. This third chapter is entitled Pure Devotional Service, the Change of Heart. So see how the sequence is. First chapter of the second canto was Viratru, Dhyan, to purify the heart and to become a theist from atheist. Viratru. Second was Paramatma, the Lord in the heart. Third chapter is Pure Devotional Service now. It's ecstatic. So we will take long time to finish this chapter, at least 2-3 sessions. It's a short chapter, but nectarian. Many of the purports we are going to read full. Simply superb, nectarian, maddening, intoxicating chapter. Beautiful chapter. So please start, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shri Shuka Uvacha Evametan Nigaditam Prishtavan Yed Bhavan Mama Drinam Yen Briyamananam Manushyesu Manishinam.
Wow.
Translation. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, Maharaja Parikshit, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the intelligent man who is on the threshold of death, so I have answered you.
Okay. So Mataji, I'm going to ask you now. So Maharaj Parikshit had asked that, hey Shukadeva Goswami, Mriyamana, a person is about to die, what is his duty? And so far, what in one line, what answer have you got? What is the duty of someone who is about to die? We just read in the last few verses.
To think about the Nama, Rupa, Guna and Leela of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Beautiful. And hearing the message, the Krishna Kathamrit, helps remembering. So you have to hear, you have to chant, and you have to remember. Yes. Beautiful. So what is the duty of a dying man?
Hearing to the Supreme Personality.
Hearing, remembering and chanting about Krishna. Very nice. So Shukadeva Goswami is saying, I gave you answer. What is the duty of a dying man? Shrotavya, Kirtavya, Smartavya. Okay. Now, you can read the purport. I will stop you when I have to interrupt. Hare Krishna.
Purport. In human society all over the world, there are millions and billions of men and women, and almost all of them are less intelligent because they have very little knowledge of spirit soul.
So someone, maybe doctor, maybe engineer, maybe very, very rich, maybe MBA, whatever we are, if we don't have knowledge of the soul, if we don't have knowledge of Krishna, we are less intelligent.
Almost all of them have a wrong conception of life, for they identify themselves with the gross and subtle material bodies, which they are not, in fact.
So people have false ego. What is false ego, Mataji? And what is true ego?
False ego is I am the doer and I am this body, and true ego is I am the servant, eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. Jivera Sarup hai?
Krishnera Nityadas.
That is true ego. And Janasya Mohoyam Aham Mameti is?
False ego.
False ego. Very good. Let's continue.
They may be situated in different high and low positions in the estimation of human society, but one should know definitely that unless one inquires about his own self beyond the body and the mind, all his activities in human life are total failures.
Yes. So whether one is a CEO or whether one is at the bottom of the payroll in terms of income and prestige, if one does not go beyond the understanding that I am this body, then one's endeavors are total failures, because it is all useless. You will die and you lose everything. A CEO may become a janitor in the next life, and a janitor may become a CEO in the next birth. What is that? So like that.
Therefore, out of thousands and thousands of men, one may inquire about his spirit self and thus consult the revealed scriptures like Vedanta Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, and Srīmad Bhāgavatam.
So is there a verse from Bhagavad Gita about this? What is
that right, Prabhu?
Perfect, perfect. Yes, please give reading.
But in spite of reading and hearing such scriptures, unless one is in touch with the realized spiritual master, he cannot actually realize the real nature of self, etc.
So what do you understand from this sentence, Mataji? What is your understanding?
So
can I see Prabhupada's books at home and that's enough?
No, because we need to be in touch with the Tattvadarshina, which is spiritual master.
We need spiritual master. Very nice. Prabhupada is saying. Now you can skip down. You see, not all human beings are intelligent.
Yes.
You can read from there till the end of the purport.
Not all human beings are intelligent. So the importance of human life is not always understood. Therefore, Manishinam, meaning thoughtful, is particularly used here.
So if you look at this verse, Nirnam yan mriyamananam manusheshu manishinam. Manishinam is used. Manishinam means an intelligent person. So not all human beings are intelligent. But one who is thoughtful, one is intelligent, one who inquires, athato brahma jigyasa, that person is intelligent. Please continue, Mataji.
A Manishinam person like Maharaja Parikshit must therefore take to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and fully engage himself in devotional service, hearing, chanting, etc.
Yes. So who is a Manishinam? A Manishinam person is like Maharaj Parikshit, who inquires about Krishna and who takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna by immersing himself or herself in hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. in devotional service. Please continue. Hearing, remembering what?
Fully engage himself in devotional service, hearing, chanting, etc. of the holy name and pastimes of the Lord.
Krishna Nam, Krishna Leela.
Yes. Which are all Hari Kathamrita. This action is especially recommended when one is preparing for death.
Okay, so here is the answer again. Srila Prabhupada is reiterating in case somebody missed it in the previous few verses that we read from the second chapter. Here in the third chapter, again Prabhupada is answering. So if someone asks you, Amrit Dwarangi Mataji, somebody is dying, somebody has been diagnosed with something that is going to lead to death, cancer or something, what is your advice based on Bhagavatam? What should that person do?
He should take the role modeling of Maharaja Parikshit and prepare and arrange the situation so that he or she will be able to hear and remember Krishna more.
And chant Hari Kathamrit. Hari Kathamrit is what, Mataji? Two things mainly. What constitutes Hari Kathamrit, the nectar of Hari Katha? Two things.
Bhagavad Gita and Srīmad Bhāgavatam.
Correct. And in this sentence?
Hearing and chanting of the holy name and pastimes of the Lord. Nama and Leela.
Leela. Nam and Leela. Nam and Leela. Nam and Leela. Nam and Leela. That is Hari Kathamrit. Very nice. Okay. Now you can recite the verses 2 to 7.
Okay. Brahmavachasa kamastu yejeta brahmanah patim indram indriya kamastu praja kamah prajapatin devim mayam tu shri kamas tejas kamo vibhavasum vasukamo vasun rudran virya kamo ta viryavan annadya tvaditim swarga kamodite sutan vishwan devan rajya kamaha Sadhyan samsadhako visham. Ayushkamo swinav devav. Pushtikama ilam yachet. Pratishta kamah purusho. Rodasi lokamatarav. Rupabhikamo gandharvan. Strīkamopsara urvashim. Adhipatya kamah sarvesham. Yajeta parameshtinam. Yagnam yajed yashaskamaha. Koshakamaha prachetasam. Vidyakamastu girisham. Dampatyartha umam satim.
Very nice pronunciations, Madhavi. Thank you so much.
Thank
Please
you.
read the translation. Slowly, and you just read slowly, the whole translation.
Yes, Prabhu. One who desires to be absorbed in the impersonal Brahma Jyoti effulgence should worship the master of the Vedas, Lord Brahma or Brihaspati, the learned priest. One who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king Indra, and one who desires good progeny should worship the great progenitors called the Prajapatis. One who desires good fortune should worship Durga Devi, the superintendent of the material world. One desiring to be very powerful should worship fire, and one who aspires only after money should worship the Vasus. One should worship the Rudra incarnations of Lord Shiva if he wants to be a great hero. One who wants a large stock of grains should worship Aditi. One who desires to attain the heavenly planets should worship the sons of Aditi. One who desires a worldly kingdom should worship Vishwadeva. And one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship the Sadhya demigod. One who desires a long span of life should worship the demigods known as Ashwini Kumaras. And a person desiring a strongly built body should worship the earth. One who desires stability in his post should worship the horizon and earth combined. One who desires to be beautiful should worship the beautiful residents of the Gandharva planet. And one who desires a good wife should worship the Apsaras and the Urvashi society girls of the heavenly kingdom. One who desires domination over others should worship Lord Brahma, the head of the universe. One who desires tangible fame should worship the personality of Godhead, and one who desires a good bank balance should worship the demigod Varuna. If one desires to be a greatly learned man, he should worship Lord Shiva, and if one desires a good material relation, he should worship the chaste goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva.
So if somebody wants a good husband, you worship Lord Shiva. Someone wants a good wife and good relationship with one spouse, then marry. You want to have good relationship with the one you are married to, then you worship Shri Parvati Devi, Shri Uma Devi. Like that, for different things, there are worships of different personalities. Purport Srila Prabhupada says, there are different modes of worship for different persons desiring success in particular subjects. Just like in the medical field, you have a skin problem, go to dermatologist. You have a bone problem, go to orthopedic. A child is sick, go to pediatrician. So like that. Here also in this universe, Krishna has designated, you do this, do this. But antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavata alpamedhasam. So all these fruits that are become beautiful, having a good wife, good husband, all temporary things. At the end, you have to die. Mrityu sarva haraschaham. So Mata, you see Ravan, third sentence.
Yes, Ravana was made that one.
Can read from there.
Ravana was made a very powerful man by worshipping Lord Shiva, and he used to offer severed heads to please Lord Shiva. He became so powerful by the grace of Lord Shiva that all the demigods were afraid of him, until he at last challenged the personality of Godhead, Sri Ramachandra, and thus ruined himself.
So say Ravan went through so much difficulty to please Lord Shiva and become powerful. He became Ravan. He had to cut his heads to satisfy Ashutosh Bhagavan, Lord Shiva. But look at his brother, Vibhishan. He did not have to cut any flesh and offer. He simply bowed his head down to Lord Ramachandra and he became Lankeshwar. He became the king of Lanka. and at the end he also went to the spiritual world. So like that. So now go down, Mataji. Read that one sentence, the real problem of life. Couple of sentences down. The real problem of life. I'll read. The real problem of life in the material world is to solve the question of birth, death, old age, and disease. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. The real problem is Janma mrityu jara vyadhi. So if someone wants to solve the real problem, one should solve the problem of Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatareshayam. Then you go down, you see death is inevitable for everyone. Death is inevitable.
Yes, sir.
You read it.
Death is inevitable for everyone, intelligent or foolish. But Parikshit Maharaj has been addressed by the Goswami as the Manishi, or the man of highly developed mind, because at the time of death, he left all material enjoyment and completely surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord by hearing his messages from the right person, Shukadeva Goswami.
Jai. This is the point. That we have to find a Sadguru and just surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna, giving up all material enjoyment, because material enjoyment is simply a distraction. Okay, you can read verse number 8, Mataji.
Dharmartha uttama shlokam tantu tanvan pitrin yachet raksha kamaha punya janan ojas kamo marudganan. Translation. One should worship Lord Vishnu or his devotee for spiritual advancement and knowledge, and for protection of heredity and advancement of a dynasty, one should worship the various demigods.
So, advancement of spiritual knowledge, we should worship Krishna or Krishna's devotee. For dharma artha, if artha means if someone wants, so dharma artha, dharma paane ke liye, dharma mein pragati karne ke liye, we have uttama shlokam. And we have to worship Krishna, Uttama Shri Krishna, or Krishna's devotee. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the path of religion entails making progress on the path of spiritual advancement, ultimately reviving one's eternal relationship to Lord Vishnu. The path of religion, the path of dharma, means we have to make spiritual progress. Can someone explain what is the meaning of this? Prabhupada is saying the path of religion entails making progress on the spiritual path. What is the meaning? Narhari Dev Prabhu, your effulgence has increased ever since you associated with Hari Parshad Prabhu and got your second initiation also. Your effulgence has increased. So
Thank you, Prabhu. Mercy of all the devotees.
Hari, also happy to associate with you in Atlanta.
Thank you, Prabhu. My good fortune. Krishna.
Yes. So what is the meaning that the path of religion entails? If someone is on the path of religion, you should make spiritual progress. What does that mean? I thought religion and spirituality is the same thing. What is Prabhupada saying here?
So the ultimate goal here is to revive one's eternal relationship with the Lord. So the path of religion is to help us make that, establish that relationship.
Just by saying I am Hindu doesn't make us spiritual. One can say I am Hindu and make zero spiritual progress. Religion is meant for spiritual advancement. We have to make spiritual progress, culminating in ultimately reviving the eternal relationship with Vishnu. So Mataji, you go down, and one who wants, this is the next sentence, and one who wants, so Mahasi, you can read the whole paragraph.
And one who wants to establish a good dynasty and be happy in the progress of temporary bodily relations should take shelter of the Pitas and the demigods in other pious planets. Such different classes of worshippers of different demigods may ultimately reach the respective planets of those demigods within the universe.
Yanti Devavrata Devan, Pitryanti Pitrata, like that. Where whoever you worship, you go there. Okay?
But he who reaches the spiritual planets in the Brahma Jyoti achieves the highest perfection.
So what is the highest perfection? Is it going to Pitralok, Maharlok, Tapalok, Janalok, Satyalok? No. What is the highest perfection?
Reaching the spiritual planets.
Which are situated in the Paravum, in the Brahma Jyoti. Spiritual planets, Vaikuntha planets, that is the highest perfection. Very nice. Verse number 9, please.
Rajyakamo manun devan nirtim tvabicharan yajet kama kamo yajet somam akamaha purusham param. Translation: one who desires domination over a kingdom or an empire should worship the Manus. One who desires victory over an enemy should worship the demons, and one who desires sense gratification should worship the moon. But one who desires nothing of material enjoyment should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
One is Akam, Purushampana. When you are tired of all these different allurements in the material world, then come to Krishna. He's Purushampana. When a child is no longer pacified by toys and that oopsie pacifier in the mouth, cries, then the parent will come and pick up. As long as we are happy by the different distractions, then Krishna and Radharani is okay. I think you're okay. But we have to cry. No, nothing else will satisfy me except Krishna and Radharani. Okay, good. So read the purport, first three sentences.
For a liberated person, all the enjoyments listed above are considered to be absolutely useless.
So please don't be bewildered. Amrit Gaurangi Mataji read a whole list. If you want to do this, worship this. If you want to do this, do that. If you want this, do that. Don't get bewildered. This is Amala Puran, Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Our Acharya Srila Prabhupada is saying, for a liberated person, or for one who is on the path of liberation, or who wants to be liberated, all the enjoyments listed above in the previous verses are considered to be what?
Absolutely useless.
Little useless, little useful, or bilkul nahi, absolutely useless. Okay. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Okay, continue.
Only those who are conditioned by the material modes of external energy are captivated by different types of material enjoyment.
So those who are under the influence of the material modes of nature, Sattva, Raja, Tama, they are allured by different types of material enjoyments. Okay.
In other words, the transcendentalist has no material desires to be fulfilled, whereas the materialist has all types of desires to be fulfilled.
If someone can tell me the equivalent verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'll be very happy. Yes, Ajay Govind Prabhu?
Prabhuji, I raised a hand for a question related to the same thing, but if I can hold on the question if you want.
No, push.
So this text is talking about that those who wants the victory over the enemies should worship demons. So demigods, I understand they are the devotees of the Lord and they do get some qualities from the Lord and they have some portion to give it to the... How would demons be able to give something to anyone, because they are not the devotees of the Lord and they do not... I'm thinking that they do not get any amshas of the Lord in terms of the opulences, then how they can give it?
The demons are they're opposed to Lord Vishnu. That is true. When I read this, my mind went to two personalities. One is in Bhagavad Gita, in the description of Krishna's Vibhuti, Krishna says, among the demons, I am Bali. Daityanam Bali, I am Bali, he says. So Daityaraj Bali Maharaj, who is a Mahajan. So it may mean that you worship Bali Maharaj because he is a pure devotee. So even though he is a demon. Or Prahlad, Daityanam Prahlad Osmi, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the something like that. So Prahlad Maharaj or Bali Maharaj, they were also counted among demons, but actually they were great devotees. That is one thought came to my mind. Second thought that came to my mind is Shukracharya, because he has a lot of powers and he may be able to grant a way of victory for mundane things. So these are the personalities I thought of. Bali Maharaj, Shukracharya, Prahlad Maharaj, like that. So is that okay?
Yes,
but again, this is all karma kind. Yeah.
I was just understanding it from the understanding point of view.
Yeah.
How could they give something when they're not empowered? Because they are powerful personalities for sure, but they are not powerful in a positive sense that Vishnu is enabling them. Ultimately, everything is coming from Lord Krishna.
Yes.
But I was thinking in the other way. So thank you.
Yeah, no, very, very true. So in my mind, I thought of Bali Maharaj and Shukracharya, who are empowered by Krishna. So like that, or Prahlad Maharaj. Okay, so Narahari Dev Prabhu, you wanted to, or Satyarva Mataji, let's go for Satyarva Mataji. You have not answered today. And Janani Mataji. What was of Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, all Krishna.
Is it this sloka? Krishna Bhakta
Nishkam.
Kama Ateiva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta.
Our Janani Mataji and Satyarva Mataji, they are very expert at reciting Bhagavad Gita. Every Ekadashi, but no, I will not say anything. Apanera Bhajana Katha na kahi vedha. But they are very devoted to chanting, reciting Bhagavad Gita. So they are chanting our Bengali verses also in Anushtup tune. So, but very nice. Yes, that is the verse. That Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ataiva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalai Ashanta. See, Prabhupada is saying that in simple English. That transcendentalist, no material desires to be fulfilled. Krishna Bhakta. Whereas materialist has all types of desires to be fulfilled. Okay. So Amrit Mataji, go down. Actually, I will read because I have marked it. One should therefore not desire any sort of material enjoyment, being sensible enough to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So who is a sensible person? According to Prabhupada, sensible person is one who gives up material desires and worships Krishna. Simple. Then you go down, Mataji, you see for fulfillment of material desires. From there you can read till the end of the purport. For fulfillment of material desires.
For fulfillment of material desires, one may worship the Supreme Lord, but the result of such worship is different, as will be explained in the next verse.
Okay. And Prabhupada explains in this purport also. So listen now, this is very important. Prabhupada is saying, so what if someone says, I have got material desires. I want a visa, I want a job, I want to get relief from this disease, I want to find a good wife or a good husband. I have material desires. So then does it disqualify me from praying to Krishna? No. Prabhupada is saying for fulfillment of material desires, one may worship Krishna. But now read, Mataji will explain what happens.
Generally, the Lord does not fulfill anyone's material desires for sense enjoyment, but he awards such benedictions to worshippers of the Lord, for they ultimately come to the point of not desiring material enjoyment.
Such a beautiful. Yes, Mataji. Yes.
The conclusion is that one must minimize the desires for material enjoyment, and for this, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is described here as Param, or beyond anything material. Sripada Shankaracharya has also stated, Narayana Paro Vyaktat. The Supreme Lord is beyond material encirclement.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is saying that if you worship Krishna and we have material desires, that's okay. But Krishna worship is so powerful, Krishna Bhakti is so powerful that we will become Krishna Bhakta Nishkam. Even though we had so many desires, but because we took to Krishna Bhakti, we will come to the point of becoming Nishkam. We will lose our desire for sense gratification. Very nice. Let's read this very important verse, verse number 10. It's a memorization verse also, I think. Yes, Mataji.
Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Translation: a person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the Personality of Godhead.
So anyone who is intelligence, udaradhi, dhi means intelligence. Anyone who has udaradhi, who is intelligent, sumedhasa, should worship Krishna, who is Purushottam. Why? Because whether one is filled with material desires, whether one has no material desires, whether one wants liberation, whatever it is, Krishna is the ultimate. Paramo labho uttama shloka darshanam. The highest attainment is to have darshan of Krishna. So you worship Krishna. Whatever it is, you worship Krishna. Bhakti will purify. So, Mataji, you read the first sentence. Then there's a question coming up.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, is described in the Bhagavad Gita as Purushottama, or the Supreme Personality.
Now I'm going to count till 3. I want to see who can recite a verse from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is addressed as Purushottam? 1, 2, 3. Nobody? Janani Mataji, you have to answer this. Come on. Satyarva Mataji has disappeared. But Janani Mataji, you please tell. One verse where the word Purushottama is used.
15th chapter, last verse, Prabhuji.
कौन सा है बताओ? You're telling the number, but recite the verse.
I'm not getting the starting.
Okay, somebody?
Yo mamevam sammudo
Janati Purushottam.
Sarvavid bhajati mam
Sarvabhavena Bharata. Very nice. Haribol. So Prabhupada is saying Supreme Lord Krishna is described in Bhagavad Gita as Purushottam. So we should know what verse that is. Yo mameva asamudo janati Purushottam. Sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena Bharata. Very nice. So Bhakti Yoga, further down, Bhakti Yoga is especially stressed here as the means of all perfection. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena in the verse. Prabhupada is saying Bhakti Yoga is stressed. Next paragraph. Akama is one who has no material desires. Further down. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained this akama, desirelessness, as bhajaniya parama purusha sukha matra swa sukhatvam in his sandarbha. In the Shat Sandarbhas, Srila Jiva Goswami, previously Prabhupada said Jiva Goswami Prabhupada, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada in the Sandarbhas is saying, what is the meaning of this desirelessness, akama? Does it mean that we are like a stone, completely desireless? No. Bhajaniya param purusha sukha matra swa sukhatvam. This means that one should feel happy, swasukh. How? By experiencing the happiness of the Supreme Lord. Param Purusha Sukhamatra. By serving Krishna and making Krishna happy should be our happiness. How beautiful is that? So no separate desire for happiness. But by serving Krishna nicely, knowing that Krishna will like, suppose we offer nice freshly churned butter to Krishna, makhan michri. We know Krishna likes it. So then you offer nice freshly churned makhan, homemade makhan to Krishna, and we feel happy. Today my Krishna ate makhan. So not swasukh vancha, tatsukh, Krishna happiness. That is called akam. So beautiful. Further down, a pure living entity feels happiness by the happiness of the Supreme Lord. Wow. Krishna Sukha Sukhi. Such superb feelings. Read this. A pure living entity feels happiness by the happiness of Krishna. Such superb feelings were exhibited by the Vraj Gopis, the damsels of Vraj Bhumi, for the happiness of Lord Krishna. The Gopis loved Krishna without any expectation of any return. And this is the perfect exhibition of akama spirit. Calm spirit, or the desire for one's own satisfaction, is fully exhibited in the material world. Whereas in the spirit of akam, the spirit of akama is fully exhibited in the spiritual world, because there is prem. Who knows the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita? The difference between calm and prem? Yes, Kirtana Sundari Mataji. Go for it, please.
आत्मेन्द्रिय प्रीति वंशा तारी पहले काम कृष्ण इंद्रिय प्रीति इच्छा धरे प्रेम
naam. Yes. Atmendriya Priti Ichha, that is calm. When we want to satisfy our own senses, it is calm, lust. Krishnendriya Priti Vancha Dhare Premanam. But if our desire is to please Krishna, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam, then that is praying. So nice. Prabhupada is writing in sentences, but it's all based on Siddhanta. So Mataji, you can read the next paragraph fully.
Thoughts of becoming one with the Lord or being merged in the Brahma Jyoti can also...
What is that called? What is that called? What liberation is that?
Sayujya.
Yes, thank you.
Can also be exhibitions of kama spirit if they are desires for one's own satisfaction, to be free from the material miseries.
Okay, who can explain this? Mataji, can you explain this sentence? What is Prabhupada saying here? In simple words, can you explain?
So this also means that you have some desire, some self-centered desire. That's why you want to be merged in the Brahma Jyoti. That's what I'm thinking.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I say, Amrit Gaurangi Mataji, I want Sayujya Mukti. So can I be called Akama?
No, according to what Prabhupada is writing.
Why?
Because you have some, you want to satisfy your own self. That's why you're saying that I
want to merge in the Brahma Jyoti. What is the wrong?
That we are saying because we want to be free from material miseries.
Whereas what does Mahaprabhu pray? Mama Janmani Janmanishware. Bhavatat Bhakti Rahita. So one may want liberation because one doesn't want repeated Jhanjat Jhamela of repeated birth, death. Huh? So Prabhupada is saying that is not a calm. That is calm. Because you want freedom from material miseries. Please read. A pure devotee?
A pure devotee does not want liberation so that he may be relieved from the miseries of life. Even without so-called liberation, a pure devotee is aspirant for the satisfaction of the Lord. Influenced by the...
So, someone says, can someone quote the verse from Bhagavatam where it is said that forget Sayujya Mukti, even other 4 liberations a devotee doesn't want if it doesn't involve satisfaction of Krishna or pleasing Krishna or service to Krishna. Yes, Shama Kishori Mataji.
Prabhuji, is it Narayana para sarvena kutashana prabhyati swarga pavarga narkeshwa pitulyatra darshana?
So that says, that talks about that a devotee, pure devotee who is Narayana Parayana, doesn't want liberation, doesn't care about Swarga, and doesn't care about Narka. They are all equal to him, doesn't matter. But I'm asking, what is the verse where it says that even the other 4 types of liberation a devotee doesn't want if it does not involve service to Krishna? Madhumati Priya Sakhi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Amrit Gauranga Mataji, 1 second. Amrit Gauranga Mataji, this Madhumati Priya Sakhi Mataji is from Australia. And she sent a pot from the Paniyati festival this year. All the way, she shifted from there. So, because Amrit Gauranga Mataji manages all the pots, so I was telling. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think it's a 3rd canto is a verse, right? Like a salokya sarishti samipya saru pekartum apyuta diyamanam na grannanti vina mat sevanam jana.
This is the verse. Very nice. Thank you. All the 5 types of liberations are mentioned. Ekatvam means Sayujya Mukti. But even salokya sarupya, sarashti samipya, don't want these 4 types of liberations also. Vina mat sevanam jana. Diyamanam na grinanti. You give, Bhagwan Kapil Dev says, even if I give, they don't want. Vina mat sevanam jana. If there is no service to me, they don't even want these liberations. So that is a pure devotee. Prabhupada is saying. Doesn't want anything. Okay. Only wants, that wants to serve Krishna. What is that?
Influenced by the Kama spirit.
Samsiddhir Haritoshan. Yeah, please continue, Mataji.
Influenced by the Kama spirit, Arjuna declined to fight in the Kurukshetra battlefield because he wanted to save his relatives for his own satisfaction.
So Arjuna did not want to see his guru, grandfather, cousins, different relatives, friends die in his own army and in the enemy army. He didn't want death. All friends and family. So he said, I will not fight. So Prabhupada says that is also calm. But
being a pure devotee, he agreed to fight on the instruction of the Lord.
This is the point. Bhakti means to put our personal likes and dislikes subservient to the desire of Krishna. We may think, I want to do this, I want more. But if Krishna says do this, we do that. Krishna says you lie to Dronacharya, you lie to the Guru. Krishna says you shoot the arrow in the chest of your grandfather, Bhishma, you do that. That is called Bhakti. Now they start the next paragraph. Udaradhi.
Udaradhi means one who has a broader outlook. People with desires for material enjoyment worship small demigods, and such intelligence is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita as Hritagnana. The intelligence of one...
What is that verse? Kama
Intelligence of one who has lost his senses. One cannot obtain any result from demigods without getting sanction from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, a person with a broader outlook can see that the ultimate authority is the Lord.
Krishna. Yes. Krishna is the ultimate sanctioner. Yeah. Then you go to the last sentence, as the unmixed sun.
As the unmixed sun ray is very forceful and is therefore called Tivra, similarly, unmixed Bhakti Yoga of hearing, chanting, etc. may be performed by one and all regardless of inner motive.
Yes, so with the magnifying glass, you can do that experiment. On a sunny day, go to the terrace, and with the magnifying glass, you concentrate the sun rays on a paper, and the sun rays have the power to burn the paper. In the school, we have all done that. Right? So Prabhupada says, the unmixed rays, the concentrated rays have a lot of force, a lot of power. It's called Tivra. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, Yajeta Purusha Param. Therefore, we have to be one-pointed. Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. So similarly, unmixed bhakti of hearing and chanting, direct bhakti, hearing, chanting, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, may be performed by one and all, regardless of the inner motive. Inner, you want some desire, you have no desire, whatever it is. You just worship Krishna, directly hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna, and then you will attain the perfection of life. Yajeta Purusha Param. We have to worship the Supreme Person. We should not worship anybody else. That is the message of Bhagavatam. So from verse number 11, we will continue day after tomorrow. Grandhara Srīmad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Okay. Ajinkya Prabhu, then Shamchandra Prabhu, then Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji, then Mukta Sangha Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you Prabhu for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, I had a little off-topic question. So we know the some qualities of pure devotees are Kshantir, Avyartha Kalatvam, Viraktir, Manashunyata, and then Ashabadha. Ashabadha means he or she is always hopeful about their own Krishna consciousness. So I just wanted to know, how do we develop this quality of always being hopeful in Krishna consciousness, especially when we commit some mistake. Like for me personally, I commit so many mistakes in my neophyte stage of Krishna consciousness, and after we commit some mistakes, there is so much guilt that sometimes we become so hopeless in our Krishna consciousness, and we feel that how am I going to make advancement? So how do we again get back to becoming hopeful, and how do we remain hopeful always?
See, when we learn how to walk, when a child learns how to walk, the child doesn't start walking on the first day. When we start walking, we fall. We fall. Because we are a child. So like you said, in my neophyte stage of Krishna consciousness, there is going to be a fall down. And even young boys and girls who think they are very expert, now they are 4 or 5 years old. Now they can participate in the running competition, track in school, correct? Because they have become experts in running now. Do they fall? Yes, they fall more than a child who is learning to walk. Those who think they are expert, the children. In sports injuries, there's a whole specialty in America called sports medicine, because there are so many sports-related injuries. They break their meniscus, they break their, ACL and so many things, soccer players and cricket players, shoulder, rotator cuff problem. So many problems are there, sports-related injuries. So even experienced people who know how to run, who know how to walk, they will also fall. Which means devotees can have fall down, even in the advanced stages. They may make some mistake. But does it mean that a child gives up attempting to walk? I fell down 3 times today. Enough. Now I will never try to walk again. No, we are like a child. So we may fall, we may make mistakes, but we have to take guidance from our parents. Can you hold my hand and teach me how to walk? When we learn to ride a cycle, we fall from the bicycle. When we learn how to swim, we go underwater, we swallow water, but we keep going. And one day we are swimming, isn't it? So that is the spiritual path also. We may become skhalit, we may fall and slip, but we have to keep going. Keep going. Shri Bilva Mangalacharya, Shri Bilva Mangal Thakur, I personally find a lot of inspiration from his charitra. Shri Bilva Mangal Thakur, he was born in a Brahmin family and on the banks of Krishna river. And he was attached to Chintamani, even though he was married to somebody else. He was attached to Chintamani. And that was a fall down. But finally, his eyes opened and he gave up association of Chintamani and took Diksha from Maharaj Somagiri. became well-known poet, and then finally his Gurudev gave him Agya to go to Vrindavan, and he was going to Vrindavan. By that time he was already famous. He was sannyasi. He was wearing sannyasi clothes. That's why the Brahman who saw him said, okay, you can come inside the house, no problem, be with my wife. And he got attracted to a Brahmani again because of previous conditionings. Previously he was attached to Chintamani, prostitute. That conditioning was there to look at women with lusty eye. So because of that previous conditioning, he did that with a Brahmani and got attracted and used his status as a sannyasi to demand from a grahastha who is at a lower status as far as society is concerned. Fortunately, before he did anything, Krishna, Tesham evanukampartham aham agyanajam tamah nashyami atma bhavasto jnanadipena bhasvatam. Krishna, with the shining lamp of knowledge, in the darkest hour, he gave the realization to Biloba Mangal Thakur, what are you doing? You are initiated, you are a sannyasi, you are on your way to Vrindavan. What you are doing? Attracted to this Brahman is such a adharma. This is to even look. Matravat Paradaryeshu. Should look at her as a mother and what you are doing. So immediately he said, these eyes are my enemy. He took a drastic step, but he attained Krishna. So I find personal inspiration from Srila Biloba Mangal Thakur that he made so many mistakes but did not give up. We should never give up. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Very soon we will become dharmatma. It is Krishna's assurance. Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. But we should not leave bhakti. Because name bhakta pranashyati. We should hold on to bhakti. So we are never a failure until we stop trying. You got it? Yes. We are never a failure until we stop trying. So don't stop trying. Latch on to bhakti. And definitely, Param Vijayate, Shri Krishna Sankirtana. You will be Vijay. But don't give up Krishna Sankirtana. Don't give up bhakti. It will happen. And this Asha Baddham, this nature of being always Asha Baddha, having hope, comes from associating with people who are like that, who have that bhav, who have that mature understanding of Krishna consciousness. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj made a mission of his life that I will always encourage devotees. I will not discourage devotees. So we should encourage each other, not discourage. Always there should be hope. So like that, associate with devotees who instill hope and have the philosophical understanding also that Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Krishna's devotee will never perish. Ultimately, Krishna is there. Krishna is there to help us conquer Maya. Daiviyesha gunamai mama maya durataya. We will fall many times because Maya is very difficult to, impossible to conquer. And mamevaya prapadyante maya metam tarantite. How many times we have to win against Maya? Once. Once Maya is defeated, she never troubles. Once Krishna says, okay, leave him. I'm going to pass him. He's coming to me. And then Maya can. When that South Indian Brahman who tested the temperature of the finger got burned, once Lord Narayan said that, okay, Vishnu Das, go call him. Then did Maya do anything after that? No. Maya mein tum tarantite. So Maya may defeat us millions of times. We have to defeat her only once. And we cannot defeat. Krishna will defeat on our behalf. Maya prapadyante Maya mein tam tarantite. We are waiting for that one victory, Prabhuji. One day Krishna will say, okay, now I'm satisfied. Maya, let go. Let him come to me. And that will be our victory. Krishna will win. Shri Krishna Vijay. Gunaraj Khan wrote that book, Shri Krishna Vijay. It's Krishna is always victorious. One day he will look at us. Kripa Kataksha. We are waiting for that glance of Radharani, where Radharani will tell Krishna that he has struggled enough. He's nice. Please accept him. Bring him. We just need to win once. Let Maya defeat us thousands of times. No problem. We want that one victory. Then Krishna will be on our side. Sayidina Kabe Habe More. When will that day be mine? We have to wait. Hari Bol. It will come. Okay?
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Shamchandra Prabhu.
In verse 8, Srila Prabhupada's purport, the last line, no? Where Prabhupada says that but he who reaches the spiritual planet in the Brahma Jyoti achieves highest perfection. So Brahma Jyoti word is coming there. So just wanted to know, because we know that Vaikuntha planets are beyond Brahma Jyoti.
No, so you look at the sentence. Prabhupada says those who attain the spiritual planets in the Brahma Jyoti, not Brahma Jyoti. The spiritual planets in the Brahma Jyoti means Vaikuntha.
But I thought Brahma Jyoti is just a refulgence, and beyond that, I mean, beyond Brahma Jyoti is actual planets, no? So in Brahma Jyoti, are there any planets inside Brahma Jyoti?
So Brahma Jyoti is all expansive. In the Paravyom, the spiritual sky, it's all Brahma Jyoti, Krishna. There is no darkness. It's all Brahma Jyoti only everywhere. And in the Brahma Jyoti, there are innumerable spiritual planets, highest of which is Golok Vrindavan. So yes, it is the planets are within the Brahma Jyoti. It's not that Brahma Jyoti is a space and then above that there are Vaikuntha planets. Not like that. The whole spiritual
the chart that we have, no? So there the depiction is shown like a band of Brahma Jyoti.
That is only depiction.
And beyond that Kailash, and beyond that Vaikuntha planets.
No. So that is just a depiction, probably. It's not like that. The whole Paravyom, the spiritual sky is it, because effulgence is Krishna's bodily effulgence. It's a feature of Krishna. It expands all through the Vaikuntha sky. It's all a bright sky. In this bright effulgent Vaikuntha sky, there is a dark cloud called Mahatattva, which is the material world. So like that. So yes, that's just for depiction purposes. But there is Brahma Jyoti everywhere. It's coming from Krishna's body.
So when we say just say Brahmeti, we mean only the effulgence part, but not the planets inside the
correct
effulgence.
Correct. Only the effulgence.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Clear now.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Also, you made a very nice point about failures. Is it okay if, with your permission, I would like to share one song? It is a Hindi song. It's not some Acharya Vani. But if we can learn some nice lessons, some inspiration, then it can also be accepted. So very quickly, Ajinkya Prabhu, I will share something. We had this poem in our school. It was part of our school syllabus. So I'm sharing the screen. Koshish karne walon ki kabhi haar nahi. I think this is by Abhivansh Rai. Bachchan. What is Abhivansh Rai Bachchan? Something like that.
Harivansh Rai.
Harivansh Rai. What nice name. Harivansh Rai Bachchan. He wrote, I think so. Very nice poem. Those who understand Hindi. लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. If you are afraid of the waves, you will never be able to cross in your boat the ocean. Similarly, don't be afraid. Those who try, they never fail. नन्ही चींटी जब दाना लेकर चलती है, चढ़ती दीवारों पर 100 बार फिसलती है. When a little ant takes a little grain of sugar and tries to climb on a wall, it falls down hundreds of times. नन्ही चींटी जब दाना लेकर चलती है, चढ़ती दीवारों पर 100 बार फिसलती है. मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस भरता है, चढ़कर गिरना गिरकर चढ़ना न अखरता है. मन का विश्वास, like Srila Rupa Goswami, उत्साह निश्चय धैर्य, if that is there, then the failures actually make us more determined to succeed. When Hariparshad Prabhu went to one Vidwan and he expressed his desire to read Shri Hari Suri's Bhakti Rasayan, he was mocked that what to speak of translating and commenting on it, you will not even be able to read the shlokas. Like that he was told. But मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस भरता है. But if we want to serve Guru and Krishna, want to serve the Vaishnavas, then the failures also, they instill great determination in ourselves. रगों में साहस भरता है. मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस भरता है, चढ़कर गिरना गिरकर फिर से चढ़ना न अखरता है. Then one doesn't mind falling again and again. We keep trying. आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. But in the end, the ant doesn't remain unsuccessful always. Once the ant will successfully climb the wall. आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों को भी हार नहीं. Another example is given. डुबकिया सिंधु में गोताखोर लगाता है, जा जाकर खाली हाथ लौट आता है. देखो, the dubkiya, the person who is looking for pearls in the ocean, he goes deep diving into the ocean, looking for oysters, looking for pearls in the oysters. And most of the times he goes and returns empty-handed. डुबकिया सिंधु में गोताखोर लगाता है, जा जाकर खाली हाथ लौट कर आता है. मिलते ना सहजी मोती गहरे पानी में, बढ़ता दुगना उत्साह इसी हैरानी में. It's not easy to find pearls in the ocean. He comes empty-handed. But बढ़ता दुगना उत्साह इसी हैरानी में कि मिलते नहीं सहज मोती गहरे पानी में. He's not finding the pearls, but then his enthusiasm keeps increasing. I will find, I will find. मुट्ठी उसकी खाली हर बार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. So the person who is trying to find pearls in the ocean doesn't come back empty-handed every time. Someday he will find the pearl. कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. One who tries doesn't remain unsuccessful always. असफलता एक चुनौती है, उसे स्वीकार करो. क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो. For this line, I shared the whole poem. I wanted all of you to read this line. This is very beautiful. देखो, असफलता एक चुनौती है, स्वीकार करो. Failure is a challenge. Be a spiritual warrior like Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said. And fight. Fight. असफलता एक चुनौती है, स्वीकार करो. Accept the challenge. And fight. क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो. ये है. This is the point. When we fail, you see what is the deficiency. What is my mistake? I watched TV. I should not have watched that. That led to my fall. I should not have gone in that association. Because of that, I ended up eating in a restaurant. I wasted 2-3 hours. क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो. Don't repeat those mistakes. This is so beautiful. असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो. क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो. जब तक न सफल हो नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम, संघर्ष का मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम. अभी we have taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. There is no turning back. Now we are on our way back to Godhead. We cannot turn back. We cannot give up. We have to keep going. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I hope this was helpful. So now we go to Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji. Thank you, Shamchandra Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandas Pranam. You can hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So, Prabhuji, we were reading in the first sloka that intelligent person will take this path of hearing and chanting, Leela and Nam, Kathamrita. So, and in the last line, this action is especially recommended when one is preparing for death.
Yes.
So, can you please explain more, Prabhuji, whether it is for people only in that end of the life, or we don't know, like when anything can happen for any person at any time. So, so is this process for everyone, or how it is, and should a person take only these things as very important and neglect other things? Because sometimes that intention comes. Maybe, I don't know, the reason may be laziness or don't have taste in other things. What is the reason? I don't know. So if you tell at what time the person can take only these two things, and how to improve the importance for other things. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mother, this is the question for one's bhajan guru, one who is guiding one in bhajan. But broadly, hearing, chanting and remembering Krishna Nam and Krishna Katha, as mentioned in the purport, Prabhupada says Hari Kathamrit, the nectar of Hari Katha, which is Hari Nam and Hari Katha, Hari Leela. These things are the most important and they are meant for everyone, specifically meant for someone who is about to die. And like you rightly said, we don't know when we are going to die. So it is for everyone. But then how to incorporate other limbs of bhakti like Archanam, Vandanam, Smaranam. So all that one has to ask individually to one's bhajan guru, one who is guiding us in our bhajan, Shiksha Guru or Bhajan Guru. And if we cannot ask our Diksha Guru, who is the main Shiksha Guru, then we should ask our Shiksha Guru or Bhajan Guru on an individual. So then they can make a schedule for us, Dincharya, and we can do bhajan accordingly. So like that, Mataji. But it is for everyone, specifically one who is about to die, because this is the most powerful. Tava Kathamritam. Amrit means it saves one from repeated birth. Oh, Mrit. Mrit means death. Tava katha mritam, tapta jivan, like that. So it is for everyone, but specifically someone who is about to die. So if someone is about to die, we should encourage remembering, chanting, and hearing Krishna Nam and Krishna Leela. Okay? Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much.
Hare Krishna. My dear Mukta Sangha Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for wonderful session.
Hare Krishna.
Bhagavatam. Prabhu, mine is a very simple question, definitely. So Lord Krishna says to Brahma, this Chatushloki Bhagavatam, right? So is that the same Chatushloki which Narada Muni tells to Vyasadeva?
Narad Muni tells Vyasadeva Chatushloki in the first canto?
Not in first canto, because that is when he says, right, Tum etat vipulu karo. So you expand this. So that is when Bhagavatam, that he expands the whole. So is it the same Chatushloki? Which comes
I want to say yes, but let me confirm this. I want to say yes, but let me confirm. I have to read that section again in the first canto. I will get back to you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay. Then we go to... So, Bhagavati Samad, you have one more question? Your hand is raised.
No, Prabhuji. I'll just lower.
Divya Agrawal Mataji, and then Sarojanandi Mataji. Amrit Gora Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
My question is about the list that Mataji read out about the demigod worship. I've seen many times it happens in India with many families when they go through a very hard time financially or something, and they consult like an astrologer or like a family priest, and they are told to do certain things like Saturday ko tel chadhao, ya Tuesday ko ye karo wo karo. But the families do it very religiously, but they don't see the results, and they eventually give it up. Maybe from one priest they go to another trying to find remedies, and nothing really helps. So I just wonder that that list that's there in Bhagavatam, the families who follow demigod worship for a particular purpose. I have not heard too much of success. So I just wonder, is that Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So there are different levels of audience where Sri Shukdev Goswami is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, and to cater to different people, to attract them, that verse was mentioned. But Sri Shukdev Goswami himself is explaining later on that all these are not for devotees. These are for people who are on the path of Karma Kand. There are many on the path of Karma Kand. Yesterday in Jaiva Dharma we were seeing there are people who have Karma Adhikar, Jnana Adhikar, and Prema Adhikar. So depending on the eligibility, certain things are spoken. In a class also, Sunday school class, now we are teaching kids. Some kids are 11-year-old, someone is 7-year-old. Someone comes from a family that is not very much into Krishna consciousness. Someone is born in a devotee family. He already knows half Bhagavad Gita. So the speaker will speak a little bit that will be pertaining to, relevant to everyone, relatable for everyone, like that. So Sri Shukdev Goswami is speaking to a mixed audience, primarily speaking to Maharaj Parikshit, but Srimad Bhagavatam is going to be read by people of all sorts for all time to come. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is something for everyone. All of those who are on the path of transcendence, everyone who is following Dharma, they will get up to Parodharma. So I some Parodharma, that also Bhagavatam says. So that verse is mentioned, but Shukdev Goswami himself says that this is not the path for bhaktas. This is for those on the path of Karma Kand. Now, as far as astrology is concerned, astrology is one of the main divisions of the Veda. It is part of the Vedas, Jyotish Shastra. So it is bona fide. It is coming from Krishna himself. And great personalities like Bhrigu Muni, who is directly the son of Lord Brahma. He has written a Bhrigu Samhita about astrology. There is Surya Siddhanta. And we see even Sri Gargacharya was called by Sri Nanda Maharaj to do the chart of Krishna Balram. Sri Nilambar Chakravarti was invited by Sri Jagannath Mishra to do the chart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj, also his parents who were pure devotees, they invited an astrologer to do a chart of Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada's parents who were pure devotees. Sri Gaur Mohan, they also invited an astrologer to do a chart of Abhay Charan Prabhupada. So we see Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada also, he utilized for some time astrology. He was expert in astrology, in Jyotish Shastra. So it is a part of the Veda, and therefore to say that astrology is false, or that would be Shruti Shastra Nindana, and we don't do that. So it is definitely there. The problem happens is when someone over relies on astrology. For someone who is not on the path of Krishna consciousness, astrology applies very much. But someone who has taken Sharanagati, someone who has taken shelter of Krishna, astrology is there, but ultimately Krishna is the sanctioner. And devotees may take help from astrology to get some specific guidance. But the solution is always going to be Krishna conscious solution. The solution is always going to be chanting Hare Krishna, worshipping Krishna, and reading Srīmad Bhāgavatam, and serving the Vaishnavas, having Harinam Sankirtan. That will always be the solution. But certain directions can be obtained from astrology. Like Srila Prabhupada, in Prabhupada Lila, there is mentioned when Srila Prabhupada was performing his departure Lila, Srila Prabhupada allowed astrology. Srila Prabhupada himself consulted astrologer. He allowed his intimate disciples to call the famous accomplished astrologers to give a prediction about Srila Prabhupada's departure. But ultimately Srila Prabhupada was always depending on Krishna. So for specific life decisions, sometimes we may ask Krishna to astrologer, and that is very much in line with our Vedic way of life. Astrology is a Vedic science. It's part of the Vedas. So that should be done. But the important thing is the solution should not be demigod worship ever. Therefore, we generally go to a Krishna conscious astrologer because they will give authentic Krishna conscious solutions about doing Harinam Sankirtan, increasing one's japa, doing Vaishnava Seva, going to the Dham where there is no influence of astrology on a sincere devotee, or reading of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. In Padma Puran, there is a story of Atmadev, Brahman, and his son Gokarna, and Dhundubi, the sinful brother. Dhundubi was in a Pret Yoni. He was in a ghostly body because of his sins, sinful activity. And just by recitation of the shlokas of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Dhundubi went to Vaikuntha. The plane came, Vishnu Dutas came from Vaikuntha and took him just by hearing the recitation of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. Like Amrit Gaurangi Mataji was reading and we were hearing the shlokas being read. Bas, in the beginning of the class, we were reading the important verses. That's it. Srīmad Bhāgavatam is Krishna Tulya Bhagavat Vibhu Sarvachalaya Prati Shloke Prati Akshare Nana Arthakaya. Srīmad Bhāgavatam is not different from Krishna. One verse of Srīmad Bhāgavatam is enough. We have to hear with faith, with attentiveness. So solution should always be reading of Srīmad Bhāgavatam to all astrological problems, all life problems. Reading Srīmad Bhāgavatam, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, doing Vaishnava Seva, worshipping the deity of Krishna, drinking Charnamrita. That is the best treatment, best solution. So like that. Is that okay? Divya Agrawal Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, but my question was about families who are into Karma Kanda and they are trying to, do these remedies, demigod worship to solve some problem at home. Maybe it could be financial, could be health related, anything. And they do all these remedies and they don't find any relief.
They will not find relief. They will not find relief because they are not.
They give up.
Yeah, they are not doing Vidhi Purvak. That's why. When I was getting married, Divya Mataji, I got married. Our pujari, who was doing the yajna, who was doing the puja, he was on the phone asking the score. There was India-England one-day cricket match going on. And here he is chanting the mantra on the phone. Kya score? What is the score? Acha, chauka mara, chakka mara, out ho gaya. He's talking on the phone during the puja of the Shadi Vivaha. What kind of puja is that? So people who are teaching demigod worship, people who are doing demigod worship, they are not doing Vidhi Purvak. And demigods are very particular. If it is not done Vidhi Purvak, it doesn't work. Vritrasur, one syllable, half syllable, ardha akshar was mispronounced. And instead of one who will kill Indra to be born, one who will be killed by Indra was born, Vritrasur Maharaj. See, this is karma kanda, this is demigod worship. It has to be done vidhipurvak, otherwise it will not work. That's why it doesn't work. That's why we don't do karma kanda. There are no qualified brahmanas. Okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sarojanandini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Benvat Pranam. Very nice class. I had just one realization that I wanted to share when I was reading the 9th verse of the 3rd chapter, which says, for fulfillment of material desires, one may worship the Supreme Lord, but the result of such worship is different. Generally, the Lord does not fulfill anyone's material desire for sense enjoyment, but he awards such benedictions to worshippers of the Lord, for they ultimately come to the point of not desiring material enjoyment. So I just remembered something that I've heard when I was young. When I was young, I've heard, especially in South India, some people say that if you have Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam at home, there will be fight in the family. For a long time, I did not understand what that means. Because, I've seen, because I know so many devotees have Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam at home, and why there would be fight. But then, reading such things, it is so obvious that, their material desires, if one person in the family has material desires, the other follows Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, definitely is going to lead to fight. So that's when I understood how this works. Because, people used to say, if you have Bhagavad Gita in the house, there will be fight in the family. So that was a very thing for me at that time. I could not understand at all for a long time.
Wonderful reflection, wonderful realization. Yes, there will be fight against Maya. There will be fight against Maya. So yes, very nice. And I have also heard, Mataji, somebody told me once that that famous ISKCON painting where Krishna and Arjuna are on the chariot, the Kurukshetra, Krishna and Arjuna on the Rath. They say, this is Kurukshetra painting, and then it says, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya. Oh, don't put this painting in the house, otherwise there will be fight in the house. Where there is Yattara Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partha Dhanu Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir. What fight? There will be only prosperity. So like that. Thank you, Mataji. But thank you for sharing that. Hare Krishna. Okay, Amrita Mataji, please go ahead.
So Prabhu, the translation, the purport for verse, in one of the verse it says that gopis loved the Lord without any return, and they had that akama spirit, and they would get happiness in seeing Krishna happy. So that level of love for another person is very hard to experience, except right now I can think about the max is maybe for my children. If my children are happy, then I wouldn't really expect anything in return. But developing that level of love for Krishna, whom we have not seen yet, but learning from Shastra and Guru and the association of devotees, is it possible, Prabhu? Because only when we develop that love, that's when probably not liberation, but the ultimate goal will happen. But it's too far off, I feel. Of course, you just told Ajinkya Prabhu's answer that, yes, we can try, we can keep trying, and it'll happen one day. But I feel it's very unrealistic, Prabhu, because, yes, we will do because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We read and we probably do out of scare, out of respect. But out of that much love, is it possible, is what I'm always wondering, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, if we associate with devotees who are Sharanagat, who are actually surrendered, devotees who are Akama, devotees who are like that, where they do everything for Krishna Pratyartham, for the pleasure of Krishna, Haritoshanam, then by associating with such devotees and serving such devotees, by pleasing such devotees, we also get that level of Krishna consciousness. We also get that state of Krishna consciousness where it is Ashlishava Padaratam Pinashtumam Adarshanan Marmatam Karotu Yatha Tathava Vidhatulam Patu Mat Prananathastu Sahivanapam. Of course, this is Srimati Radharani speaking. This is the highest realization for a spiritualist. But we get to become Anuvrajan. We get to walk that path, follow behind these great souls. But this is the path of Sharanagati, where Krishna, you can do whatever you want. I just want to please you. I just want to serve you. Maro bhi rakho bhi jo ichha tohar nitya dasa prati tu adhikar, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur plays in his book Sharanagati. I would say one should do our Vidhi Bhakti nicely, chant our rounds nicely, worship the deity of Krishna. Slowly, slowly attachment develops. But if one somehow serves and associates a devotee who is truly advanced and performs bhajan under the guidance of a truly advanced Vaishnava, then this attitude of not wanting anything for oneself and just wanting Krishna to be happy, that love for Krishna, that type of attachment for Krishna develops. I was recently talking to one friend of mine. He has a not travel agency, but he works for a travel agency. So what he does is, people go in summer to Europe, Australia, America from India on vacation. No? So he makes the internal reservations for those tourists. So if someone is going for a 21-day package to Europe, so he does their bus, accommodation, travel arrangements in those different countries, Germany, UK, Paris, like that he does. So it's a very complicated job, right? You have to get in touch with those buses, those hotels, negotiate a good rate, make the bookings. In summer, it's hard to get. All those things he does. So for years, he has been using a bus agency in Germany, which takes those tourists, and he had made the bookings months in advance. And literally 1 week before the tourists from India were going to go there, this bus company said, sorry, our buses have broken down or something has happened. We will not be able to take care of your guests, your tourists. Now, he is just a little employee in this company, and his job is to manage it. He has never gone out of India, which are always in Bombay, but on phone, on internet, he does all these things for the company. So he was in great distress. So he told his boss that vendor has said he will not be able to provide buses for this group of tourists who are going to Germany. Boss said, you arrange, it's your headache, otherwise you lose your job. So he called me and he told me, Prabhuji, I am very much in distress. I'm not able to sleep at night. I don't know what to do. Only 3-4 days are left before my customers go to Germany, and there they have nobody to take them around. What a disaster. They have paid lakhs of rupees. So what to do? So I just told him that, Prabhuji, you take shelter of the Sharanagati songs of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, take shelter of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and you just pray somehow. Krishna can do anything. Kartum akartum annatha kartum. The Upanishad say Krishna can do the impossible into possible, possible into impossible. Nothing is impossible for Krishna. You just take shelter of Krishna. But I told him, don't take Anya Ashray. Don't take shelter of anybody else. So there was an astrologer. He told him there is some astrological problem in your chart right now. So you wear a Pushkar stone in a ring. It will bring good fortune. Someone told him, in your house you keep some idol of one demigod worship. What different people suggested different things, even devotees. But he really read Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings and got so much inspiration from those Sharanagati songs. And by hearing the satsangs of the pure devotees about Sharanagati, he said, I am not taking Anya Ashray. Krishna says, Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. How I can take Anya Ashray? I will not take shelter of anyone else. So he just prayed to Krishna and chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra, increased his rounds, increased his bhajan, increased his dependence on Krishna. The vendor who had backed off called him from Germany and said, hey, I'm sorry, man, I dumped you last minute, but here I have found one company for you. And they gave him for half the price, same bus service. So he found out that this vendor also was giving at a very expensive rate. So everything worked out. His customers were happy. His problem was solved. And he did not take Anya Ashray. So later on, he was telling me, Prabhuji, if I would have taken Anya Ashray, then I would have felt so guilty that I left my Krishna. I felt that the demigods can do something that Krishna cannot. I would feel that this gem can do something that Krishna cannot give me. He said that is a complete break of Sharanagati. But I'm feeling so happy that I depended on Krishna and Krishna took care of everything. But then I forgot what your question was, sorry. But was this relevant?
Yes, Prabhu. So developing love for Krishna, is it possible in this life is what I was asking.
Oh, yeah. So yes, Mataji, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kahelo, Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hai. It is by Sadhu Sangha, the prem that they have in their heart, by associating with them, by hearing from them, and by serving them, that love will come into our heart. This is mentioned in Jaiva Dharma. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. We have to use sadhu sangha. Therefore, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya says, you memorize this verse, Mataji. The verse that I am about to tell. Someone can share this in the chat. I will enable the chat. So someone can please put this verse. It's very nice verse. Amrit Gaura Mataji, you memorize this verse, okay? Very nice verse. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, your question is answered. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you are asking this love for Krishna, Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema Janma Mula Hai Sadhu Sangha. Krishna Prema Janma Teho Hai Mukhya Anga. That Krishna Prema Janma Mula Hai Sadhu Sangha. It is Sadhu Sangha which is the root cause of developing Krishna Prema. This is the answer. That Krishna Prema Janma Mula Hai Sadhu Sangha. Krishna Prema Janmateho Hai Mukhya Anga. And even when Krishna Prema arises in the heart, still Sadhu Sangha remains a main limb of bhakti. Our Sharnagat Mataji, she has shared this verse about Sharanagati, and Gokuleshwari Mataji has shared this beautiful verse. So you please memorize this. So beautiful. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Haya Sadhu Sangha. Krishna Prema Janmateho Unamukhya Anga. This is Madhya Lila, chapter 22. Verse 83. This is the meaning. That how Sadhu Sangha gives us Krishna Prema. It is possible to develop Krishna Prema in this lifetime. We just have to fall in love with someone who loves Krishna. A sadhu who has love for Krishna. By associating with them, hearing from them and serving them, we will get that prema which they are carrying in their heart. That bhav, it will rub onto us. By associating with a COVID person, if one can get COVID, by associating with a Krishna Premi, how we cannot get Krishna Prema? Why we cannot get this Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hai Sadhu Sangha. Krishna Prema Janmate Hai Mukhya Anga. It always remains a Mukhya Anga of Sadhu Sangha. Therefore, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastram. Vinamat Pada Rajobhishekam. That is coming actually in one of the purports next time we'll see probably. Next or the time after that. That Vinamat Mahatpada Rajobhishekam. Unless we serve the dust, bathe in the dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee, we cannot get love for Krishna. It's not possible. So please remember that. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhu, and thank you for the opportunity to read today, Prabhu. Thank you.
Haribol. It's my great pleasure. So thank you, dear devotees. We'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Granthara Srimad Bhāgavatam ki Jai.